Hi, this is a short video about relative clauses for Latin GCSE. Now conceptually, people often find relative clauses one of the harder constructions for GCSE, but actually in terms of the grammar that they use, they are fairly straightforward. First of all, what is a relative clause? Well, a relative clause uses the relative pronoun, which in English is often who or which, and it gets its name from the fact that it relates to facts about something or someone. Now, the fact that it's relating facts, that it's talking about facts, means that a relative clause will use an indicative verb. So you don't actually need to worry about subjunctives or infinitives or anything like that. So if we have a look at an example, we have vir cuius uxorem necavi iratissimus est. The man whose wife I killed is very angry. Now we can see here that the relative pronoun, which is underlined, cuius, or whose in English, introduces our relative clause, and it runs until the next main verb. So from cuius to necavi, and we can see that actually that part is commaed off in both the Latin and the English. Now that's not always the case, but here we can quite clearly see which part of the sentence is the relative clause. Cuius uxorem necavi, whose wife I killed. So the main part of the sentence should actually make sense if we take that part away. The man is very angry. And all the relative clause does is tell us a little bit of information, a little bit of extra information about the man. So it's the man whose wife I killed. Now, if we have a look at the table of the relative pronoun, this, we can see, could be quite confusing, but it's something that, unfortunately, you just have to learn. There is no two ways about it. In order to translate relative clauses comfortably and accurately, you need to know this table. So the relative pronoun is going to agrees with a noun, often the one just before it, and this is known as the antecedent. Now, somewhat confusingly, the relative pronoun will agree with the antecedent in number and gender, i.e. if the antecedent is singular, the relative pronoun will be singular, and if the antecedent is masculine, the relative pronoun will be masculine. But it will not necessarily agree with the antecedent in case. So the case of the relative pronoun does not depend on the noun with which it agrees, but instead on its own function within the sentence, i.e. the case is determined by what the antecedent is doing in the relative clause. So if we go back to our example, so we have the man whose wife I killed is very angry. So cuius is our relative pronoun, and vir, man, is our antecedent. So we can see that the word order is helping us to show that cuius is referring to the man. So the man is masculine and singular, and cuius is masculine and singular. However, the man, because he is the subject of the sentence, the man is very angry, he is in the nominative, but cuius is genitive. Now this is because if we look the main sentence, there we go, the man is very angry, but the relative clause essentially means I killed the wife of the man. So the antecedent, i.e. the man, in the relative clause, he's no longer the subject. He is in fact, he is possessing the wife. The wife is belonging to him, and so that's why our relative pronoun goes into the genitive. So any combination of cases for antecedent and relative pronoun is actually possible. So for example, if we have a look at this example, we've got hasta qua uxorem necavi fregit. So the spear with which I killed the wife broke. So the main part of the sentence, the spear broke, hasta fregit. But which spear is it? It tells us, the relative clause tells us a little bit of extra information about the spear, and it's the one with which I killed the wife. So here, hasta is feminine and singular, qua is feminine and singular, but hasta is nominative, whereas qua, because it's the thing with which I killed the wife, goes into the ablative. So just to summarise, relative clause is relatively straightforward. The important thing to remember is the relative pronoun agrees with the antecedent in number and gender, but not necessarily in case.